Hello, I'm Lois and I'm part of the worshipping community at St John's, and I head up the kids' work there on a Sunday morning and do a couple of random bits for St John's, part of my placement there. So I just would like to put out there, I'm very impressed with people who's done their daily devotions. If everyone else who's like me is done their recording about 100 times, then so be it. I done a really good shot and then my camera fell and I rewatched it back thinking it would be okay, but I forgot it happened and scared the living daylight out of me. So if there's a if at the end of all of this we should get a bloopers video from everyone's daily devotion, because I think that would be absolutely hilarious. So today's passage, we are looking at Acts 5, 1-11. And this follows on from which Pete Gaunt shared with us yesterday. If you haven't already seen it, I would go back and watch it. And this is to get the full context of what this passage is about. So I'm going to do a quick summary for us and then move on to the passage. So in the last passage, it spoke about the community of God, not God's community of disciples and apostles. Nice save there, Lois. Joking. And this community was full of love and hope, and that they sold their possessions and trusted in God and wanted to live as disciples as Jesus. And through the disciples, they taught through the apostles, they taught other disciples, and the community just got bigger and bigger. That in my worldview, my utopian worldview, if I could see the perfect world, this would be what it is. That we all who are fellow Jesus followers, that we live in a community, that there's no rich, no poor, that there is hope, there is love, there is justice, there is equality. But, that's coming when heaven comes, And we realise that we're human, and that we can't do it by ourselves. So we're going to read on into Acts 5, 1-11 now. If you have a Bible on and want to read it with me, flick to it now whilst I'm still rambling. And if you want to just listen to it, listen up. So now I'm reading from the NIV version. So now a man named Ananias, together with his wife Sapphira, also sold a piece of property. By his wife's full knowledge, he kept back part of the money for himself, but brought the rest and put it at the apostles' feet. Then Peter said, Ananias, how is it that Satan has so filled your heart that you have lied to the Holy Spirit and have kept for yourself some of the money you received for the land? Didn't it belong to you before it was sold? And after it was sold, wasn't the money at your disposal? What made you think of doing such a thing? You have not lied just to human beings, but to God. When Ananias heard this, he fell down and died. And great fear seized all who heard what had happened. Then young men came forward, wrapped up his body and carried him out and buried him. About 3 hours later, his wife came in, not knowing what had happened. People asked her, Tell me, is this the price you and Ananias got for the land? Yes, she said, that is the price. Peter said to her, How could you conspire to test the Spirit of the Lord? Listen, the feet of the men who buried your husband are at the door, and they will carry you out also. At the moment, she fell down at his feet and died. Then the young men came in and finding her dead, carried her out and buried her beside her husband. Great fear seized the whole church and all who heard about these events. This is just a challenging passage. Lots of questions are brought to my mind, and it may be yours too. Why did they have to die? What was it to show? Why didn't they just not sell the land if they didn't trust God? Sometimes we will never truly know the answers to other people's actions, or even God's actions. I'm asking a lot of why questions in my life. Why this, why that? But I trust in God that it is good. I quite easily can point the finger at Ananias and Sapphira and say, why are you lying to God? But quite often do I put a mask on to God myself and say, yeah, God, life is great, I'm fine. Everything is happy and dandy. But actually it's not. That could happen, and some of you can resonate with that there's just a little bit of fear in you that you can't just let God in all of your life, but you can have part of it, But it's not the doubt in God which was the problem in this story. It was the fact Ananias and Sapphira lied to God. That in this community, that quite Peter questioned, you didn't have to sell it. God didn't tell you needed to. Some stuff we need to do in our own timing. That we're just able to trust God. But sometimes we forget how mighty and powerful God is. That is what I'm reminded by in this passage. That although God knows us and searches our hearts and knows us every thought and knows how many hair are on our body, but sometimes we forget that and just tell God, yeah, God, life is great, lockdown is great, but actually it's not, It's, where are you always being honest to God? And I really challenge you to think about it more. Where is it that you can't fully surrender yourself to God? Where is it that you're not giving fully to God? Whether that's your giftings, that God has put that gifting in you. That you are a singer, just a secret shower singer, but fear that going and talking to Joy about being in a worship band is scary, that you just don't trust God with that. You're not good enough. But God loves you and He has gifted you. And although this isn't related, more so, but for me, I feel God is saying to us, what can we wholeheartedly give to God? What can we wholeheartedly give to God? Let's pull down these masks we're wearing. Stop doing stuff with half a heart. That we can easily say, I've done the best I could, God. When we see Jesus for the first time, I try my best, God. And God knows that. He knows when you're trying the best. And He loves you for that. And He knows life is hard. He doesn't promise us an easy life. And there we will find Him. We'll find Him in every aspect of our life. We just need to let Him in. I hope this helps. I hope it hasn't just been a rambling of you. And I'll see you soon and hopefully see you in person if I haven't met you before. Goodbye.